We noticed issues this morning at the West Gray Multi-Service Center, a popular place to vote. We learned 20 of the voting machines were down when polls opened at 7 o'clock this morning, but technicians worked on it and all 60 machines were back up and running by 9 o'clock. Naturally, this frustrated voters, and one of them made her feelings known to the Harris County Elections Administrator, Clifford Tatum.
I called Tanisha's husband, I called Judge Kate, I called everybody, even the mayor, because the last thing you want to do is turn away voters. And for that to not be ready when you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to make sure we were good. I mean, that has never happened at this poll.
Well, I understand that typically doesn't happen at a poll, but I also understand the reason that happened. What occurred. And we'll provide that in the full report to the court and to the Election Commission as to why those 20 machines were down at the very beginning of the day.
The administrator went on to remind people that as long as they're in line by 7 p.m., they can still vote.
And since then, West Gray continues to be a popular spot for voters and candidates. Brittany Ford is there live with the very latest. Brittany.
Well, Rika, voters tell me the process in and out has been smooth since that hiccup this morning, but you could take a look at the line that wrapped around the entire building this morning. As a result, the Harris County Elections Administrator says 20 of their 60 total machines were down as they opened their doors this morning, causing an up to 2-hour wait. Now, we're told the issue was resolved by around 9 a.m. Since the line has remained long but steady. I spoke with voters coming out to gauge just how long they waited. What time did you get here?
At noon. I came at lunch.
And then how long about did you wait?
About 30-45 minutes to get in there.
It was 12:08.
12:08. We're about what right now?
1:07.
So about an hour.
Yeah, about an hour for the whole process, so very easy.
This has been a busy location for candidates making stops as well. Lena Hidalgo and Beto, who just wrapped up remarks here, as well as several other candidates and keynote speakers. Now back out here live, West Gray. The West Gray location is known to be a popular location. We've seen that with an influx of voters coming in and out throughout the day. But I will say there has been no other issues reported. In Montrose, Brittany Ford, KHOU 11 News.
All right, thank you so much, Brittany. Some people did have issues at the Baker Ripley house on navigation.
And that's where Tiffany Craig is. Tiff.
Yeah, guys, one person told me that it is an insult to all voters that they couldn't get it together here at Baker Ripley this morning. Take a look behind me because now things are quiet. There's actually nobody here. But the administrator of elections for Harris County says the reason for the delays this morning, they didn't have the key to open the voting equipment. And that led to long lines and extremely frustrated voters. Some of them tell us they tried to get in, all done before work, and ended up standing in line for hours.
And nothing should have been left unturned. And you weren't prepared. It's an insult to the citizens, and it's an insult to being American. A simple ability to cast a vote. We couldn't do it at 7 a.m. because somebody couldn't find the key.
Initially, I was told maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then it was like, I don't know, and then again another, maybe like in 30 minutes, and I waited 4 hours.
It's hard to imagine that anyone would have to wait 4 hours, but that voter said she actually left, came back, and was able to cast her ballot. She was determined. As for the key issue, election officials say it was a miscommunication, and everyone is human, but they are looking into this issue. But because of all of that, I asked, well, is there any opportunity to extend polling hours tonight? That is something they're considering, and we'll let you know if that happens. We're live on the east side. Tiffany Craig, KHOU 11 News.
All right, thank you so much, Tiffany Craig. And right now, we're tracking what many people would consider the biggest race of the night, the governor's race. Challenger Beto O'Rourke is going head-to-head with Governor Greg Abbott, who's spending his election night along the border. Our Marcelino Benito joins us live from McAllen with more on that. Hey, Marcelino.
Ron, it's been a steady stream of voters here in the city of McAllen. It's where Governor Abbott hopes to declare victory later tonight. We're just a few miles away from the U.S.-Mexico border. You'll recall Governor Abbott actually launched his re-election bid here in the city of McAllen. He hopes to finish up the campaign with a win here as well. He's visited the Rio Grande Valley more than any other governor in Texas history, and has made border security a top issue in the campaign. He's counting on increased support here in South Texas. Interestingly, though, not one voter we talked to today told us border security is top of mind here. Here's what else voters told us about what brought them out to the polls this midterm election.
Last year's freeze for sure. We were in Cancun like Ted Cruz was, but our family was up here freezing, so that's for sure what made us come out here.
More Hispanic parents are seeing what is happening at other states, and we don't want that to get here. So I think a huge motivation for exactly that trend is all the things that now we are seeing at other states that are more democratic, more Democrat oriented, and we don't want that here.
Most of us still voting for Beto and the people that we actually know. And, you know, I've had a couple of terms already, and it's time to give somebody else a chance.
The Rio Grande Valley traditionally has been a very Democratic part of the state, but there have been signs Republicans are making inroads among Hispanic voters. Just pulling more Latinos away from Democrats here could make a huge difference for Abbott tonight. Pundits tell me they believe it should be a very good night for the Abbott campaign. As for the governor's schedule for the rest of the day, he has no public appearances scheduled until he rallies with supporters here in the city of McAllen tonight. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Marcelino Benito. Beto O'Rourke will watch election returns in his hometown of El Paso tonight. Gerald Harris is live in El Paso at his election night party after talking with voters. Hey, Gerald.
Ron, on the last day of voting, Beto O'Rourke traveled to San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston. Those are areas the campaign feel they can turn out voters and drive up vote totals in those metropolitan areas. O'Rourke will return back to El Paso, another place, his hometown, where he feels he can also run up votes. We spoke to El Paso voters about what issues are driving them to the polls, from first-time voters to veterans of voting.
It's important to have a say in, you know, who's leading us. Some issues like women's rights, it's really important to me.
A lot of issues, abortion.
And that voter we just heard from says he plans to vote Republican all the way down the ticket. O'Rourke has been campaigning on restoring reproductive freedom. He supports returning back to what was in place under Roe v. Wade. He's hoping to move young and college-educated voters to the polls, as well as shore up the Democratic base of Latino voters and also African-American voters. In El Paso, Gerald Harris, KHOU 11 News.
All right, one of the biggest races in all the country. Gerald, thank you so much. We'll be checking in with you throughout the night.
Another big race is the highly contested one for Harris County Judge between incumbent Lina Hidalgo and her GOP challenger, Alexandra de Moral Miller. Our crews are taking a closer look at this race.
I'm Jason Miles in Edo, where Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo hopes to celebrate victory tonight. The Democrat is seeking her second term as the county's first female chief executive. She spent much of Election Day at polling locations, including the West Gray Multi-Service Center and Ella Baker Montessori School, the latter being where she cast her own ballot. This video sent to us from her campaign. Hidalgo said she was encouraged by the long lines, no matter how people were voting, adding she's optimistic about the results in her race tonight. Reporting from Chapman and Kirby Bar and Grill in Edo, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
I'm Lauren Tellerico outside Kirby Ice House, where the watch party for Alexandra Del Moral Miller kicks off in just a few hours. Miller, a Republican, is hoping to unseat Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo. The West Point and Harvard Law School grad says her #1 priority is cutting crime, which includes getting in new judges and hiring some 1,000 new law enforcement officers. Recent polls show this is going to be a close race.
And there's still plenty of time for you to cast your ballot. Remember, polls close at 7 p.m. and as long as you're in line by then, you will be able to cast your vote. So head to KHOU.com for a look at our voter guide. It lays out everything you need to know, from polling locations and times to sample ballots and ID requirements. Or just text the word VOTE to 713-526-1111 and we'll send you back a link to our voter guide.
And we are already hard at work in our KHOU 11 Election Center. We are getting ready to bring you those results as they come in when the polls close tonight at 7 p.m. And just a reminder.
Yeah, we'll be covering the local races as those results starting to roll in on our website, khou.com, the KHOU 11 app, and our KHOU Plus streaming app. Our digital coverage begins around 7 p.m.